Not, we'll hear from the opponents. Chris Draper. And if I read all the cards, let me see if it looks to me like you have two people ceding time to you, which would give you 6 minutes. Let me make sure those people are here. Vicky Lena. I'm getting a nod. And Paolo Barona. Okay, so assuming she comes back, so you have 6 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Chris Draper. I live at 2656 Bruxelles Street. I am the only person here that lives within 100 feet, 300 feet, or 500 feet of Brandy's bar. Since November the 18th, when Brandy opened, it was like a sledgehammer had hit us. The notion of her operating a restaurant we were very excited about. However, the intent has never been to operate this as a restaurant. The intent has always been to operate it as a nightclub operating into the late hours with very, very loud music. Now, I've heard constantly that Brandy should be able to operate this business just like the prime example, because they're relatively close to each other. The difference is that we have never heard any noise coming from the prime example. The matter was addressed with the ATC. There were 2 hearings. Brandy was ultimately cited on the 13th of December. She was also cited on the January the 10th. She was fined $2,000, had 3 suspensions with a 60-day probation period. Also, the City Planning Department went through and listed 5 pages of violations. 5 pages, to which we're unsure whether or not these issues have been addressed. Now, during the course of this unfortunate event in our neighbourhood, and I'd like to make the point, I live within 100 feet. Within 100 feet of Brandy's bar, there are 10 residential units. Prior to Brandy opening up her business, there was 1 vacancy. Currently, we have 5 vacancies, so we're becoming like a residential desert in that area. In fact, we have the highest vacancy ratio of anywhere in the entire neighbourhood, and that's been because of the effect of the late night music and the constant violation of the rules and regulations that have caused these people to leave. Now, of those 5 people that left us, 4 of them had children. They're no longer with us. During the course of dealing with this matter, we've had confrontations with Brandy's bar. I personally have had a gun pulled on me, and my wife was threatened to have our house burnt down. Brandy also continues to operate out of hours, even advertising those hours on Instagram and Facebook, of which we have evidence. She has flaunted every rule. She has consistently not wanted to operate as a restaurant, but to operate as a late night club with extremely loud music. On March the 14th, we had an incident where there was a brawl outside Brandy's. One of the people involved in the brawl proceeded to break into a vehicle parked almost directly in front of my house, to my next door neighbours as well. Fuel was thrown into the vehicle and it was set alight. The entire vehicle burnt literally in front of our eyes. this sort of attitude and what Brandy's brings to our neighbourhood is absolutely a page out of the Wild West. I wouldn't believe it if I hadn't have seen it myself. Now, like I said, I'm the only resident here within 100, 200 or 300 feet, so I can directly attest to the issues that her bar has brought to our neighbourhood. Further to that, I would like to state that in addition to constantly advertising hours of operation that are now out of limits or outside the scope of her business rules, she has not contributed anything to our community whatsoever. The parking, Broad Street, median strip has become a parking centre. Our driveways have been parked in, parked across, and needless to say, the trash that comes through is incredible. These are not helping our community, these issues related to this business. I would also like to say that of the 5 vacancies, there's no incentive for people to come in and invest any money to rehab the houses. And lastly, I'd like to bring your attention that 6 days ago, Brandy Bayham was arrested.
Okay, Mr. Draper, that does conclude your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Susanna Burley, and then Meredith Martello is ceding her time to Susanna Burley. So that's 4 minutes for Susanna Burley.
Thank you. I'm Susanna Burley. I live at 2706 Castiglione Street, 3 blocks from Brandy's Bar. I urge you to vote no on the conditional use permit application submitted by Brandy's Bar. The health, safety, and welfare of our community are compromised because of this bar. Brandy Bayham, the bar's operator, has operated the bar until 2, 3, 4 a.m. on too many occasions to count. I've gotten out of bed in the middle of the night to figure out where the noise was coming from. I live across St. Bernard, and it was coming from Brandy's Bar. When people have driven by to document this, they've been threatened by violence. Brandy has a record, her most recent offense being May 2nd, 2018. Her son, Montreal Bayham, who helps operate the bar, his most recent record is December 26th, 2017. And her friend, Wayne Griffin, who helps operate the bar and was most recently arrested on December 22nd, 2017. He is also the one who threatened arson to our neighbor. The volume of Brandy's Bar is louder than what is allowed by law. It's pounding, it shakes our houses, it makes it very difficult to sleep through the night, which is very rough when you have a 5-year-old at home. The crime outside the bar is compromising our general sense of safety. Just a couple of weeks ago, the police reported the illegal discharge of a firearm outside the bar during the day. This is not a restaurant. This is a bar. And it has everything that comes with a late-night bar that is run by an irresponsible owner. Please know that I'm not anti-business, and I'm not anti-nightclubs in my neighborhood. I love the prime example, which is located next door. They're excellent neighbors. They don't disturb the community with noise, parking issues, or crime. But I ask you to ask yourselves, if you lived within a few blocks of this bar, knowing that the operator has flagrantly disregarded the law thus far, and knowing the company that she keeps, would you trust them to operate the bar as a restaurant that adheres to the law? Zoning is forever. We cannot live with this forever, so please vote no. Thank you.
Thank you. Stash Kozlowski.